Welcome back, everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood Mick. Today, we are finally doing the episode that I have talked about since the end of intermission and the entire, playing of Final Fantasy VII Remake for the PS5. Finally doing the, I guess you could call it a TED Talk between me and Jamie.
Hello.
So,
a TED Talk.
Yeah. Let's talk about our experiences.
You got a minute?
Yeah. So what we're going to do here is we're going to give a little backstory between each of us, our experiences with the remake and Final Fantasy VII in general, and the story, and then we're going to go from there. So you go ahead and...
Me go ahead, because mine's the shortest.
Exactly. I mean, I could go first if you want to.
Well, no, mine's the shortest.
Okay.
The way I got introduced to Final Fantasy... Sorry, this is really pretty. It's a very pretty visual. The way I got introduced to Final Fantasy VII was I got sick for a week when we started dating, and you had a PlayStation 3, and you had bought me Stick of Truth, the South Park game, and I somehow talked you in to me getting this PlayStation 3 and bringing it home, and you let me bring it home only if I started playing this. And I absolutely, as an avid reader and a lover of certain story video games, absolutely hated this fucking game because I don't like having to read my video games, ironically. So I got as far as, where'd you say? I got to Rocket Town?
Yeah.
And
essentially she got done with the entirety of Nibelheim, and then...
Yeah. I know that much of the original. And then I obviously know that somehow, someway, Aerith gets stabbed.
That's just because the internet ruins it for everybody.
So I know that, but with the remake, I played the entire remake during lockdown because I lost my job for 6 months, and you were like, hey, I got this game and I think you're gonna like it, and I was like, oh, well, I didn't like the other one, so let's try this one. And every single day, like the trash human I was, you came home and my fat fucking ass is just sitting on the couch playing the fucking remake, like, hi. And I played through it in like 2 weeks.
Yeah, sounds about right.
A week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And
because I was going through more of it faster than you did.
But I got through it pretty quickly, more than you were expecting. Because all I play is Skyrim and Sims and Overwatch.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And Stick of Truth.
And possibly Lego's Harry Potter, but...
I'm not smart enough for that game, so I turned it off. Apparently children can play it, I can't. But I got that far, and then obviously I didn't play Yuffie's Adventures, but I sat here with you through every single episode. So it felt like I got to play it.
Well, yeah, because you were there watching while we were playing.
The Final Fantasy VII Remake was by far a really, really good game. I've played it not all the way through, but I've started 2 new playthroughs just so I could get different things, like different dresses and different stuff. But I don't know. I really like it. I'm excited for part 2. Anxiously waiting.
Yes, we both are. Haven't heard anything about it yet, but hopefully we hear something soon.
And I have no intention whatsoever, and I know this breaks his heart, I have no intention whatsoever of playing the original ever. It was like pulling fucking teeth to play it, and I know that hurts his soul because it's like one of his favorite games. But
and the sad part is like you didn't have to experience it the way we experienced it as kids.
Oh, I know, because I have the limit break thing.
No, not even that.
The click-ins.
Yeah, the games add-on built-in cheats. Okay, yeah. That besides that, we had Game Sharks, so that didn't matter.
Yeah.
So what I'm talking about is you didn't get to experience the entirety of playing the whole thing, grinding through it, not having anything but small little bits of internet that went off of rumors about the game. Like the amount of times that I've heard different rumors of how to get Aerith back and revive her, it's ridiculous. Not to mention, you were going off of the strategy guide. We never had a strategy guide until like later on.
I still hated it. I'm sorry. It's the fact, and I'll always say it. It's ironic as hell. I'm an avid reader who does not like reading my video games.
Jeez.
It's the reading aspect of it, and that's what sucks about it. I feel like if there was certain voices, like, and I feel like that comes across with Silent Hill 1 for me, because Silent Hill 1, there's some talking, but not much, and that's absolutely my most hated Silent Hill game. Silent Hill 3, though, primo.
Yeah.
But
we're not talking about that.
I know. But I'm just saying, I just don't read video games.
Yeah. Well, me, myself, is the
Jesus.
Complete opposite.
Get ready
Complete
for a sit-down
opposite.
story, kids.
Let me weave you a tale. Anyway, so me and my brother grew up on this game. Like, when we got our PlayStation, this was the PlayStation game that we got. We had demo discs from, PlayStation Magazine left and right, but we never had an actual game. And I remember us taking all of our games from our Sega and our Super Nintendo. I think we might have had a few Nintendo rolling around. And we were able to trade it into this video store that... I can't even remember the name of it. It wasn't Blockbuster. It wasn't like a GameStop, but it was right next to our grocery store that we always went to. And the dude that was talking about it was like, "Hey, this is pretty popular. It's a really long game. It's 3 discs long, and a lot of people that play this game, really like it." So we soaked it up. We were like, "Okay, cool. We'll take it." We didn't have a memory card. Which back then, that was the little card that inserted above the controller slot of your PlayStation. Yeah.
I never owned a PlayStation.
Okay.
I owned a Game Boy Color
Yeah.
and a Nintendo 64. I was that kid.
Well, think of it like the memory card for your controller, but except it went into the system.
I never had that. I wasn't cool.
Oh, yeah, so you didn't get to save your games.
Nope.
So...
my whole life was a tragedy.
When we would play the game, we would only be able to get through maybe the first bombing mission, maybe a little bit afterwards, because we couldn't save it, and by the time we would have to shut it off. There was times where we actually would play it and leave it on all night, and then would go to school, or if it was the weekend, we would leave it on overnight and then play it even further. But we just eventually broke down and finally got a memory card and started playing it legitimately. But when it comes down to that game, I know every little tidbit, every little fact. Actually, I don't even want to say every little fact. I honestly, if I could boil it down to it, I'd say I know everything that's in the strategy guide, and then a little bit more.
And
I know where to find everything.
That's why he's annoying to play these games with, because he'll literally sit next to you and go, "You missed this, you missed that, you need this, you need," and. Ugh.
This is stuff that I had to learn after the fact.
I mean, I'm excited for you. But I think that's why I appreciated the remake so much, because you didn't know any more than I did.
Oh, shut up.
That was what was great, because you were learning it like I was, and you're like, "Oh, well, fuck, here we go."
Yeah, until we got to the point where you were like, "Oh, yeah, toward the end, I was talking with Tifa," and I'm like, "You talked with Tifa?" I didn't talk with Tifa.
Oh, I talked with Tifa, and she said that she loved me and hugged me.
No, that wasn't the case.
No?
No, there was a hug, but there was no talk of love.
I feel like there was a love.
No. I think that's your woman brain inserting stuff into the conversation that wasn't actually there.
She shouldn't love him. I would much rather Tifa get with Barrett at this point.
No. You're only saying that because you like Barrett.
He likes to little spoon. You can't tell me different.
Shut up. Anyway... Other than that, that was pretty much I never played before Crisis or Crisis Core. I know of them. I know little bits of the story just from stuff that I've looked up, when it comes to certain characters and stuff that's going on. Whenever, we were playing Intermission, I didn't know anything about Vice or Nero. And I was like, I played Dirge of Cerberus and I remember him, but I didn't know I couldn't remember exactly what role they played in the whole story, the whole aspect of things. So I had to go through that whole spiel, getting that taken care of and looking up that stuff. But, you know, for the most part, when it came down to 7, like, you know, me and my brother would try to like speed run each other, and me and my friends would try to speed run each other. Like, oh, I got to the end of disc 1 and I was like level this, or I got to disc 1 and I got this, and like some stuff that we would figure out after the fact, you know, and stuff that we learned online. We would share it to our friends, and our friends didn't know it because they were like, they either never had access to internet or they didn't have the ability to do that. But that was pretty much sums up my thing. So this next section is going to have a little bit of visual spoilers, so if you haven't played the game, I suggest you go play the game, then come back to this video. If not, and you have already played the game and you already know the ending, we're gonna now talk about I guess you could say the direction that they took the remake in. Honestly, when I first heard about the remake, I wasn't expecting like a 1-for-1 remaster or a 1-for-1 copy of the game being made. I was expecting them to take, you know, some, you know, creative liberty, I guess you could say, and make the game different.
I had no expectations of anything.
Well, yeah, because you haven't
I went
played
into
anything.
this blind, basically. And then I also 100% will... Oh, he does have a wing.
I told you.
I know, I'm so stupid. Literally, I was like, he has a wing? Like, a couple weeks ago, and you were like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, yeah. I had no idea. But anyways, I actually went into playing Final Fantasy VII Remake. Like I said, I lost my job, so I was super pissy. And I went into it with a mind of, fuck this game. I'm not going to like it. I'm going to hate it. To me staying up until 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning fucking playing this game. It was awesome. So much coffee and other things went into playing this game.
Now, imagine that feeling.
But with the other one.
That's how I can best describe us playing it.
Other than Silent Hill 3, Stick of Truth, and then I guess you'd say Skyrim's, I've never felt stoked. Oh, Last of Us. Of a game. Like, excited for it and seeing where it goes. We know where The Last of Us 2 went, though.
You haven't even finished it.
I gave up.
Yeah, you still need to finish it.
We'll see. I'm gonna probably play this about 6 more times before that happens.
Jesus. I found your new Skyrim.
Woo! Excited.
So there were some things that I was confused on. Like, I know how they did that whole thing with the whispers. The more I've, you know, looked up and read about, you know, certain things that, you know, the directors of the game have said about the whispers and, you know, what their whole role in this whole thing is. That was the only thing I had some, I don't want to say beef with, but I was kind of like, okay, we can do without them, that's fine. But I know that they have, this scene just fucking is so nostalgic. Anyway, if you played the original, you'd know what I mean, because there was so many scenes they took from the original, like, at the very, very end, the same thing. You know, you're fighting Sephiroth one-on-one, and then they do that cut back where they're cutting back and forth to each one of them. So badass. Anyway, sidetracked, back on the path. They have the stuff that they went with. Some things I'm like, okay, cool, this is great, this is awesome. Other things like that was kind of like one of the things I had a problem with. Was those whispers, and then like once you play the story a couple times and you start looking into like the information that you get to read when you scan certain enemies, and then you start looking in piece and piece.
Chandler.
What?
The kid? You gotta go up to him and...
Chadley.
Oh, well, fuck. I thought his name was Chandler.
This is my life. This is my life, guys. Bear with me, please. I'm trying to teach her the ways.
I'm 84% a green plant. 16% caffeine.
You're still less of a plant. Never mind, I'm not going to say it.
I'm a bush. Anyways, no, I like him. I like that aspect, but was that even in, like, the original? That wasn't a thing.
No, that was a
So that was
brand new
added.
thing. Yep, that was added.
That was cool. I really liked, from what I played, I know she wasn't in the original. I really like, I don't know what her name is, the old lady that gives us a room.
Oh, I
love her.
I've played it probably. You played it more times than I have, and you should know her
I
name.
can't remember her name, but we'll call her Madame Zeroni. I like her because she literally tries to hook you up with Tifa, and I appreciate that. She wants Tifa treated well, and I appreciate that shit. I agree with... I called them the Wisps. I know they're supposed to be the Whispers or whatever. They look like wisps of, like... They look like Dementors. It's basically what they look like. And so then the guys with the tattooed numbers, that kind of makes sense to me, but that's like a reach too.
Yeah, but you don't know the whole thing about the whole reunion theory that is supposed to be in this game.
No.
Which you would have known if you played the original. So
never gonna happen.
The original, there was, I believe it was Hojo, spoke of the reunion theory, where they believe that if the people who have been injected with Genova cells at some point will want to reunite with Genova.
Yeah.
Well, turns out that Hojo thought if they located Genova inside of Shinra, that they would just want to locate to Shinra.
Yeah.
But that's not the case. It turns out, Genova ends up going back to where she originally landed, and then that's where everybody wants to congregate to. So that kind of explains a little bit of the whole Genova theory, the reunion theory. That I was actually kind of surprised they still kept in, because I thought they might have just gotten rid of that, but I'm pretty sure that wasn't going to be an option. Oh shit! What else? What did you think about the whole ending itself?
It was different. I wasn't expecting.
I
wasn't expecting to fight him. I wasn't expecting to see him. I was thinking.
You're talking about Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is.
This is after, yeah. This scene right here. This is after.
This is Yuffie's Adventures.
No, no. This is the end. This is the end of Remake. Okay. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really know what to expect. I got really angry when it was done because I don't feel like that was enough.
Well, of course, because it's not the whole story.
No, I know, but it was just frustrating because I was expecting it would be a lot longer.
Oh, I mean, depending on how you played the game, yeah, it would have been longer. I think they said that the campaign, the story itself, is roughly I think they said 30 to 40 hours.
Yeah. Her. Yeah. What is her name? This lady. She's awesome. I love her.
Okay,
I'm sorry. I fucking love her.
You're getting way too hypey.
R.I.P. to headphone users.
So, one of the things. So when I originally played this, and just like you experienced the same thing. After the fight with Motorball, you would think, into the freeway, that's it. That's when they go to start their adventure.
Yeah.
And then they threw that curveball at us. Honestly, I was surprised that they would have made him the final boss to fight.
Yeah. No, I agree.
But at the same time, I'm kind of okay, I expected it because they want to set this tone that, Shinra's not the big baddie. He is. And this is what you're going up against.
Oh, she's so cute. She's just so precious. I love her.
Yeah, you get to, depending on what they touch base on, you'll get the full backstory on her.
Which is really sad.
Yeah.
But I don't care, because Daddy Barrett is
Jesus.
No, he's such a good dad. And he doesn't...
Yes and no.
He doesn't have to be. He's a good dad. He treats her well.
When he's there.
He's saving the world.
I know.
So she has a better world to live in.
Yeah, I agree.
This is coming from a kid who has a father that was in the military. It's the equivalent.
Okay, I get
It's
it.
the
I
equivalent.
gets it. I gets it.
I just appreciate their relationship.
So, like, the whole ending, like, there's a couple other things I was going to touch base on, especially with, like, this. So, the thing with the black feathers, originally, I thought this was somebody else. But I think it is Seth Roth. Like, so whenever, Cloud was first doing the bombing run, and then you got to see that black feather that fell, I was thinking it was something else. Turns out from a consensus of everybody online talks about it, that's who it is.
It's Sephiroth.
It's Sephiroth. But there's a part where, and we'll talk about this later on, where they're leaving as Zack is walking by with Cloud. Mm-hmm. A lot of people try to say, oh, well, Aerith stops because, Zack and Cloud walk through her. That's to indicate that they're on the same timeline and whatnot. By them destroying the Whispers, they destroyed Fate itself. When you clearly watch the video, they don't fucking walk through her. They walk between her and Cloud. Now, whether this is the same timeline, I doubt it. And I don't think this is the same timeline. I honestly think what this is two events taking place at totally different times, but because they're in the same area, they're trying to make it seem like it's happening at the same time.
Well, I know you're a skeptic as fuck, but that's fine. But that's like the equivalency of how like different places of land can have like a remembering thing.
Yeah.
So like it's like that. Like so I don't want to say spiritual shit. No, he walks in between them.
Yeah, but no, they tried to say that he walks through her.
He just I don't know.
Yeah, some of the stuff that I've seen.
I think she's just it's almost like she's basically a medium.
Well,
like,
she kind of is. She speaks to the planet. She speaks to the dead, people, live stream, the whole 9 yards.
So then is he dead?
No, because as from the scene earlier, originally in Zack's last stand, he was supposed to die. In the canonical, I can't even fucking talk. Canonical canon, it's basically canon that in Crisis Core, Zack's last stand, he's dead. He dies. And then Cloud wakes up from his Mako poisoning, goes, Zack gives him the Buster Sword, Cloud has an emotional breakdown, and then proceeds to make his way to Midgar. Now, that being said, I honestly think that the game is, the way they're setting this up is, they're basically changing the fate from before Crisis, which is Zack's last stand, because obviously he lives. But they're still continuing the story with the original 7, Final Fantasy 7. I think the way they're going to do it, they're going to make everything pretty much the same, because they're going to stick to the source material and respect the source material. But I honestly think what's going to happen is they're going to change small little things that makes the game a little bit different, but make it seem like it's in the same timeline as Zack.
Yeah.
But it's not. So one of the things that, I had talked with you about was the fact that, there's the end of intermission where there's a special scene at the very end, and we'll get to that, a little bit later, with Zack, which blows the whole same timeline thing out of proportion. Like, it blows it out of the water. It doesn't make sense. But we'll get to that later when we actually talk about intermission. Right now, we're just going to talk about the game. What about the flowers?
Is that what blows it all out of the water?
No, it's a totally different thing.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, no, like the way they did the remake and the way they did the ending, they presented it in a way where they're trying to make it seem like both things are happening at the exact same time, and I know they're not, because timeline-wise, doesn't make sense. Because even if hypothetical, Zack died, Cloud lived. If they went that way, and he went in the same direction as the way the party's leaving now, timeline-wise doesn't make sense, because, of course, the party now is in the future, and that timeline was in the past.
So canon, though, from the original, Zack's dead.
Yes.
So when Cloud has his mental breakdown, realizing that all of his memories are in turn Zack's that he's taken.
That's later. That's way later.
How are they going to go about that if Zack is alive?
Well, that's the thing. I don't think they're in the same timeline. I think when they release part 2, they're going to have 2 separate timelines. There's the timeline the party's in, and there's the timeline that Zack's in.
Is it before or after, or is it like a split timeline while they're Neville, like almost like the upside down? No, it's going to be totally separate. Because here's what I'm thinking. So let's just put it in the perspective of, like, let's give it a number, okay? Let's say the party is in 2020, Zack's in 1999. So, given that time frame, granted, 2 stories are being told, but they're not being told at the exact same time. Now, I want to be in 1999. I'm sorry.
You'd be 8.
I wouldn't have to be wearing no goddamn mask back to work.
Okay, we're not talking about that. That's... I can go on for fucking hours on that shit, so let's leave that out of the gate.
As we're about 30 minutes deep into
exactly.
this conversation.
So, shit, I'll fucking talk about 30 minutes more about fucking masks and the bullshit on that shit, but we're not going to go into that.
That's for another video.
Exactly. So, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to do some video editing here, and then I'm going to put in some of the intermission video, so that way you guys have that to watch while, we're talking about intermission.
Yes.
So, now we are going to talk about intermission.
Yuffie's Adventures.
Yay! Ninja Star.
Yeah, literally.
So, I thought this was cool because in the original game, you don't get to see her story fleshed out at all. You get a side mission in Wutai, and that's it. So, and once again, you don't know anything about that because you never played the original.
No, but we watched some movies. Jesus.
We looked up the YouTube.
We watched some YouTube videos, and I'm gonna be honest, I paid attention to them. I forgot everything.
Jesus fucking Christ. Okay. So,
to an extent. Like, I'm sure if you talk about it, I'll remember.
Essentially, Shinra went to war with Wutai. Wutai basically did like a peace treaty, ceasefire kind of thing. And since the war, they've basically been like a tourist trap. And to them, it's like, it's a disgrace to our honor, that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So that's why, like, Yuffie's doing this stuff where she's trying to gather all the materia, because he who has the materia wins the wars. And because Shinra is this big, powerful corporation, they have the materias and lots of it. So, with that whole thing, I like that they kind of flushed that out a little bit because, like I said, you didn't get that before. You get that little side mission, which hopefully they still introduce, so you get to go to Wutai, and then you get a little bit more into that. This whole clip at the end I thought was actually kind of cool, where you actually get to see the party going to Calm. But that was just kind of giving them a little... I feel like this was giving people, oh, hey, we are working on the second part. Here's what to expect.
The lack of Red 13 dialogue was very upsetting.
I think they might have did that on purpose.
Maybe.
So, I don't know if maybe it was like scheduling conflicts or whatnot, that they couldn't get him to record any audio.
He's just the bestest of boys, so...
But with the exception of like Cosmo Canyon, and some of the little places that you go to...
He doesn't really talk that much.
Yeah, he doesn't talk that much. So, in my experience, this is pretty much his character. So, him not talking didn't really raise that big of a concern.
Yeah.
So,
I feel like Barrett looks younger, though. Like, I feel like I know everything's obviously a lot more cleaned up than the original and the original remake.
Yeah.
So it's cleaned up since even that.
Oh yeah, because this is.
I feel like a lot of stuff is like softer.
Well, yeah, that's because this is like 4K, and 60 frames a second.
They're just softer. Like, even his hair looks softer.
True. And here's another thing. When he left, I mean, if you go back to the clip before, you can see he has sunglasses when he leaves, and he's saying goodbye to Marlene. Now he has no sunglasses. Where do sunglasses go?
You stumped me. He still has a Jack Skellington tattoo on his arm. And
Okay, that is not a Jack Skellington tattoo.
It fucking is.
It's a specific animal, beast, whatever you want to call, that's part of the world. Why he has that as a tattoo, I have no idea.
Did you really look into that to debunk my...
No, I had known that before.
Oh, okay.
Like, okay, so in the original 7, when you see his tattoo, it looks a lot more like a Jack Skellington tattoo. That I can agree with. What it looks like now, not so much. Look at these bitches hitchhiking.
I love Tifa's boots. They're just so...
I thought you were going to say something else.
Boobs?
Yes.
Her boots. I'm not that much of a sexist asshole.
I don't know what you're talking about, but that girl is stacked like a Vegas
I like her eyes
casino
too,
deck.
because they're a red-brown. I'm tired of seeing blue eyes.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah. I mean, if you think about it, they're kind of like, her eyes are more reddish-brown, so that would make sense to somebody who's a brunette anyway, because there's a lot of brunettes that have brown eyes. Case in point.
I have blue hair now.
Doesn't care. That your base color is brunette. You can say black all you want. That's brunette under there. And that doesn't matter how many times you dye it. It's still brunette.
I don't know. I just like Tifa. I think she... Oh.
Chocobo Bill. That's the guy that runs the Chocobo farm.
He's getting frisky. Jack Skellington tattoo.
That's not Jack Skellington.
Fight me.
The things at the bottom isn't the jaw. It's basically a mandible, like almost like a pincer.
I'm gonna make a forum on Reddit about this.
Oh, jeez. Stick to Tumblr.
I can't navigate it anymore. I'm not emo enough.
Sorry, your wrists aren't textured enough.
I've stopped caring about Tumblr after they got rid of the porn.
Oh, Jesus. I mean, because where else can you get porn, right?
4chan.
Yeah, that's the worst kind, though.
Anyways, off track.
Yeah, way off track. But yeah, no, the freaking, the whole part with intermission and these whole scenes, like, I made, like, an entire, like, list of stuff, concerning certain things, like, other YouTubers have said when it came to the video and their analysis. I mean, okay, sidetrack really quick. Look at Calm. Look at how big that place is going to be compared to what we got in the original.
Dun dun dun.
Yes. So, to this. Other YouTubers have said, oh, this is the same timeline, while the party's going to Calm, Zach's trying to find Aerith, which, granted, yes, this is the church. This is where he's going to find her. Now, when we get to it, I'm going to point out a couple things, okay? Mm-hmm. If you notice in the original, when you first fall through the roof, there is a cross that's on the back of the wall. Now, the way it looks is there's nothing there. The outline of the cross is there, but it's a wood background. Now, if you look here, not wood background, stone background, but it's lightened. The where the cross was is a lightened stone texture. So this has a wood cross in the center of it, meaning this is probably what the church looked like beforehand, like before. Now, if you remember when you first crash in, freaking pews are all over the place. The place is pretty fucked up. Mm-hmm. So I have a feeling that
this is before that happened.
Exactly.
Maybe this is like taking place Because didn't the church obviously had holes all through it?
Somewhat, yeah.
Because you crawl through the roof.
True. But that opening in the roof was from when you fell through as Cloud.
So it was just one hole.
Yes.
Why did it feel, though, like there was multiple holes, though, when you were going through? Because you're fighting against the Whispers.
Oh, that's just the church
was,
itself in the background of it, like, moving all the way through.
There was so much fucking rubble.
Yeah. Because everything was all fucked up. Now...
From just him falling?
No, that was just the church in general. So, like, she was tending those flowers well before Cloud decided to fucking comet himself right through the fucking roof. Now, when they showed the flowers, here's another thing. When they showed the flowers, and that, trust me, this clip is going to be repeating quite often, so you'll get to see it. They tried to say that the flowers were dead or dying.
No, they're alive.
Exactly. Or they tried to say that they were a different color than the flowers that were there originally.
Admit, I still see that there's at least 2 or 3 flowers that are smushed. But that could be from people in there just smushing it.
Exactly.
So I don't want to say it's after or during the same time period of that.
So one of the other things that another YouTuber had said is, oh, they're trying to portray this as everybody's sad, everybody's upset, and they're trying to paint this picture like Aerith is already dead.
No,
in Zack's timeline, Aerith is already dead. Now they're saying this with no proof whatsoever.
I see it as that there's going to be an attack on the city.
Now,
and they're refuging in the church. That's just how I see it.
Could be. The other thing I wanted to point out is the fact that they tried to say, oh, well, the reason why Aerith isn't in the church is because she's out on her adventure. Bullshit. I'm calling 100% bullshit.
She's at home with Mom.
Could be. But here's the thing. Now, they're trying to say that because of the way the game set everything up. She's walking out. Zack's walking to Midgar with Cloud. Now, the one thing I wanted to point out is when Zack's walking back to Midgar, he's fucked up.
Mm-hmm. Like, now he's fine.
Exactly. He's totally fucked up. His armor's all fucked up. He's all fucked up.
So and does that mean he's had time to heal then?
Exactly. Some time has passed since that initial cross through, which even if he went to the church, because there's time has been passed, and I guarantee you, he didn't just get patched up and then decided to go see her. You saw him out there struggling on whether or not what he was gonna say, how he was gonna handle that.
I think he'd been fighting on it for a while, even if he was going to.
Exactly. That's why I'm thinking that this whole thing isn't how they're setting it up to be.
Yeah.
That it's not at the same time. It's not on the same timeline. I think that there is an alternate timeline. So either... Because if you think about it, how are they going to have it on the same timeline with 2 Zacks, or not 2 Zacks, 2 Clouds, 2 Aeriths? And if those 2 existed in the same timeline, Barrett, Tifa, Red 13, they're all in the same timeline.
Double the slaughter of the girl in the pink dress.
Double the slaughter of the girl in the pink dress. Feed her to the cows.
Can you tell how much I don't like her?
She is awesome.
I don't like her. I think it's because
her voice actress is absolutely the greatest person.
I just don't like her character. I've never...
You can't tell me that when she sat there and went, shit, you didn't giggle.
No, I really didn't.
When that precious little girl in the little, quaint little dress, was climbing that ladder and then started to lose her grip, and then the ladder broke and she just goes, shit, and then latches on. I lose my shit every time. Because I just think it's so funny that she doesn't seem like the person to cuss.
I mean, I get that.
It's like when I hear your dad say fuck.
See, but the problem is you don't spend that much time with my dad. Now, if you heard my mom cuss, that'd be funnier.
Yeah, but your mom...
cusses at dishes.
Well, your mom also is a little bit crazy, so I expect that from her. Your dad's like so calm and cool and reserved that when he says fuck, it's like he said fuck.
No, I just don't generally like her character, so I think that's my only... I don't like stupid girls.
But she's not stupid. She's the savior of the planet.
People say I'm bubbly in a way. She's bubble-headed. Like, that's the I've just never really been into her character. I'm into stronger female characters. That's my problem.
Yeah, I get it.
But I'm not going to deny that she comes in handy sometimes, and...
Well, she's basically the party's white mage.
She comes in handy sometimes. Yeah. But
you know the rule.
What?
Don't fuck with the white mage.
Don't fuck with the healer.
Exactly, same thing.
I've learned that with all my years of playing D&D. Don't fuck with your healer. Or a druid. They'll mess you up. But anyways, no, I can see the entire 2 timeline thing. I can see that being a thing.
I mean, look at that crisp, dapper young man.
He is so fucking handsome. I hate it.
It's that jawline, yo.
No, it's the hair. It's the hair.
Hey, I'm jealous.
I'm just saying. Cloud's hair makes him look like he wants to speak to the manager. This guy, Zach, like, I want to take him to a Slipknot or a Static X show.
No, you see, Cloud wants to speak to the manager. Zach wants to fuck the manager.
No, he is the manager, and we call him Daddy.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, I hate that term. It's ironic enough, though. Every single girl character, I'm like, yeah, I love when they have brown eyes, but all the guy characters, I'm like, blue eyes.
Now, granted, like you said, some of the area's smushed, so, like, I get the fact of, because there's people there. Plus you got a bunch of little frickin' crib midgets running around. They're gonna tear shit up anyway.
But were they going...
Sorry, we just, like, switched video. Switched to video from, like, hey, it's Zach. Hey, Sephiroth. Boom.
That's fine. I love this scene. I think it's great. No, but, like... I'm still skeptical of if it's before or after in general. I don't think it's the same exact timeline, but I also don't know if it's before or after when he's showing up, necessarily.
True, because he could be waiting a while. I mean, he could have showed up after...
all of this.
Yeah.
And I understand because when you said you fell through the church pews, they were disarray, this and that.
Yeah.
They could have set everything back up. They could have cleaned everything up. You have no idea. Because that lady...
wasn't there anymore?
Yeah.
Oh, the Angel of the Slums.
Yeah.
Yeah, she pretty much took residence up in the church.
And then when she pretty much left, maybe it gave them a chance to clean everything up.
Yeah.
But also, too, when you leave, you're not told of anything that's happening back there.
So the other thing is I think I made a note of it somewhere. So one of the other YouTubers I was listening to said that if you look at the scene where Zach is at the church, you can clearly see the Sector 7 plate that fell. What?
I don't see any of that.
Well, here's the other thing. Here's what I want to call him a fucking mongoloid, but I feel like that's going too far.
Don't do it.
But
canceled.
Cancel what?
Canceled.
I do this for fun.
Canceled.
So, what this guy doesn't realize is the fact that, number one, the scope of the plates is fucking huge.
Yeah.
Second of all, they're in Sector 5, okay? Sector 5 already has a plate, okay? Sector 5's plate hasn't fell. You go to Sector 6, that plate fell.
What Sector 6?
Wall Market.
No, I know. What Sector 6?
Sector 6 is still a thing. Shut up. So, the plate from Sector 6 had already previously fell. So, unless they're trying to make the size of Midgar smaller than it actually is, there is no way that they can see Sector 7's plate from Sector 5 from just that pan down from the church. There's no way. That is Sector 6's plate. And I don't care who wants to say differently. Fucking fight me on it. I will die on that hill in a pile of shit. I don't care.
Icky.
I know. But my thing is there's certain discrepancies that I've seen in other people's videos where I'm looking at their, like, how they're analyzing, little bits here and there, and I'm like, dude, you're fucking wrong. Like, you're fucking wrong. Like, I don't know how much more proof I can prove. You're fucking wrong. You know, the only thing I can't say without a certain is whether or not it is on the same timeline or not.
Yeah.
You know, I can't verify that.
Well, you
There's
also
no way.
can't even verify if it's before or after.
Exactly. The only thing you can see is the fact that Sector 6... Because Sector 6... The timeline in which Sector 6's plate falls was in Before Crisis, I believe. And that was way before all of this shit happened. This is way before the start of Zack's story. This is way before all of that. That plate had already fell. He wants to tongue you. Yeah.
He needs some chapstick.
No, what are you talking about? Those lips were fucking moist.
Ugh, no. Ugh.
Fuck WAP. That's some wall. Wet ass lips. But there was an interesting theory that I did watch a video on. And I'll probably have you watch it later. This guy, but the only thing is like, I don't know if you could watch it because it's like 2.5 hours long. And this dude goes through the entire Final Fantasy VII. He does some speculation about the Yuffie DLC, which, in retrospect, certain things end up being wrong. But his theory, and some of his theory is based on facts from like the Final Fantasy VII Ultimania. Fucking Palmer looks like Pennywise, but like Pennywise letting himself go.
He looks like the Penguin.
He looks like Pennywise fucked the Penguin.
Black-haired Legolas right back there. You see him? He's skinny, black-haired Legolas, so you know he's in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, not the Hobbit one.
Oh, okay. But anyway, he does this whole theory where he goes into Rufus and the origins of Avalanche and Dirge of Cerberus and like everything. And his theory is basically Rufus is the head of Avalanche and doing all this stuff to get his dad out, which he ends up succeeding, but he's taking it a step further in what he wants done. Like, I mean, if you want to watch the video, you can watch it, but like I said, it is a 2.5, 3 hour long video.
We'll see if I lose my job again. Maybe I'll get into stuff.
Okay. But with that being said, we're going to take another break, and when the next audio clip takes up, we're gonna do our little theories on what is going to be in part 2.
I have none.
Okay, well, I'll start off, and then you can kind of piggyback off of that.
If you hope.
Yeah. All right. All right, guys. Now we are going to talk about what we are going to expect from part 2. And since you don't really know what to expect, I'm going to go ahead and just start this off.
Go for it.
So here's what I'm thinking. They obviously have to end the game sometime before, I guess you could say, the start of Disc 2. Which the start of Disc 2 is essentially the beginning of after Aerith disappears. Now, when that happens, that's after the gold saucer? I believe it's after the gold saucer. The second time. So, I don't think they're going to stop it there. That doesn't make any sense. It's way too much area to cover.
Wait a minute. She vanishes twice?
No. She only vanishes once.
I thought you said twice for a minute.
No. I said gold saucer second time.
Oh, okay.
Because you make 2 trips to the gold saucer.
Isn't that the time when she gets put in the helicopter?
No, that doesn't count. Because she left. That's not a vanish. Like, when she leaves, like, you lose her from the party after that point permanently. Yeah.
She's not a good friend.
So, I'm expecting, here's exactly what I'm expecting. I'm expecting either them to go all the way up to Rocket Town, which is
Sid.
Yeah, and get Sid. And then that's where they're going to leave it. Or they do it after the gold saucer, because that's right before you get to Cosmo Canyon.
I want to see Jessie come back.
That's not going to happen.
Why was her headband there?
Why else? The body was recovered.
That's fucked up. I want to see more of Wedge's cats.
He technically, I mean, it goes with the theory, if you don't see an actual body there when the death happens, that means the character could come back. So all you see is him getting pulled away by the whispers. You don't really see him die. You don't really see a body. So I think he might come back.
See, because I thought that was Jesse's.
No, those are Jesse's. But Biggs was... Why is Biggs there, but not Jesse? If they're both recovering, if they both were saved...
She's on the other side of the room.
No. You just saw the side of the bed. There's nobody there.
I have hopes for things. Okay?
I know. Because technically, they both look like they died on that pillar assault. Jesse more so, but Biggs looks like he just kind of passes out from the pain.
I hope we get to see about her dad's story.
Which, that is part of the gold saucer.
Okay.
Because you get the gold saucer, then you get, basically, it's Corel Prison, which is at the bottom of the gold saucer in the desert area. That's where you get to find out about Dyne, that whole story, which...
That's his name?
D-Y-N-E, yeah.
Oh, I always call him Bucky.
What?
The arm.
They both have gun arms, not a metal arm.
He has a fucked up arm.
Whatever. Anyway, so that whole situation takes place then, which you already know his story. Unless you just, like, skimmed past it. Because if you got to Rocket Town, you were already there. You weren't paying attention, were you?
No, I was.
Okay.
I know about the story mainly because I watched a video to figure out about it. And that's how I found out about it. I got up until Rocket Town, like I said, and then you said, let me go get these two characters for you. It's a little bit tedious.
No, Sid isn't tedious. Sid's easy. I said Yuffie was tedious because you have to answer it very specifically. Because if you don't, what?
You took it and did both though.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, you got Sid and you got Yuffie from me. I never got Sid.
Exactly, you hadn't gotten to that point yet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Besides, we're not talking about that.
Anyways.
We're just talking about what is supposed to happen or where you think that it's going to end. Because you got to remember, if they're going massive scale on this like they did with frickin' Midgar, there's no way in a PlayStation 5 game that they're going to be able to put
everything. Them
leaving Calm, going through to the Chocobo farm, going through the mountains, past the Midgarzolum.
With the snake.
Yeah, Midgarzolum. There's no way that they're going to go through that. Then after that, do the whole Fort Condor section.
Is that the marching?
No, that's Junin. That's after that. Then you have Junin. Then you have the boat ride over. Then after the boat ride, you have Costa del Sol, which really isn't that big of a deal. There's some story stuff related that happens there. Yeah, then you have to basically take the backside of the mountains all the way through into Corel, where you end up at, into Mount Coral, where you get Barrett's backstory. Then you have the frickin' the ride to Gold Saucer, and then after the Gold Saucer, you have then you get the gondola, the gondola. You basically get the buggy. Mm-hmm. You get to go to Gondola, which is Zach's hometown. You have all of that. You have Cosmo Canyon, Nibelheim, and then to Rocket Town. All of that in one part of the game. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to end either... I honestly think they're either going to end after the boat ride past Junin, or they're going to end right before you get to Golden Saucer.
I feel like that's so short, though.
Exactly. I want to know how they're going to handle the whole materia situation, because normally in the game, after you've left, you have all this materia built up, and then you go out and you do your thing. Now they don't have that system now. Now they have, what they have is the system that you built in, and either, say you're like me, you have your characters capped off at level 50. Do you get to start the next part at level 50 and then keep going? Or are you stopped at back at level 1 or back at level 6, I guess you could say, because in the original, the first fight you go from 6 to 7, which was that was kind of like a little hidden meaning, because you're going, playing 7. So that's what I think. That's what I'm expecting. Do I want more? Absolutely. Do I? But okay, here's another question I'll impose. When do you think we'll actually see part 2?
2023.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. With everything possibly getting locked down again in California.
They're not making the game in California.
Where are they making it?
It's in fucking Square Enix in fucking Japan.
Even worse, motherfucker. Even worse.
No. See, no, I don't think so. Because here's the deal. They had already had a good chunk of the game done before the pandemic hit, okay? Now, that being done and said, the game did get pushed back from its original date, which, if you think about it, I think that had something to do with because of the pandemic. Now, if you think about this, when they're doing part 2, they already have assets already done. I mean, you have already talked about this.
Yeah.
The assets for the characters are already made. The animations are already made. The coding that has been done for their move sets, their weapons, everything is already done. All they have to do is create the environment and mocap certain cinematic scenes, which I've already seen tweets about them already doing mocaps, which means they're either finished doing the mocaps or they're still doing them. Here's what I think. I think if we get it, it's going to be 2022.
July.
End of the year. I'm thinking like August, October, that ballpark.
I'm only skeptical on it coming out because it's already 2/3 the way through 2021. And after 2020, I don't trust anything.
Well, true. I wouldn't trust anything after 2020 anyway. As long as they don't take Betty White, I'm happy.
It could happen.
No, it can't. She's a fucking Highlander.
They took Joey Jordison.
That's different. That's a musician. We're talking about Betty fucking White. Betty White is older than sliced bread. Like I said, she's a fucking Highlander. She took over the Golden Girls one by one until she was the one.
She shit in B. Arthur's teeth.
Jesus Christ.
My shit. She fed her pie.
But yeah, so that's kind of what I'm expecting. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. Well, if that ends up being the case, sure. Do I think that there's going to be an entire fleshed out golden saucer in part 2? No. I think you'll get the backstory from Barrett, and then once the backstory for Barrett's done, the crowd will get ready to, the party will get ready to board the little tram that goes to the golden saucer, and they'll look on the vast openness of where the saucer is, and they'll see everything going off, and then that's when they'll cut the credits. That's what I have a feeling.
She's not very calm.
Well, yeah, that's because it's fucking raining.
Where's a roof when you need one?
I don't know where we're gonna end up, but I'm excited.
Ooh, the backstory that Cloud does in Calm, that's gonna be dope. Because you get to control Sephiroth for like a fight.
I doubt they're gonna do that.
Actually, no, you actually get to control him for a little bit more than just a fight, because you have the actual, the entire walk up to the Mako reactor. So there's a bunch of fights that you take place in there, and like you get your shit kicked in while Sephiroth is just being Sephiroth and being awesome.
We'll just have to wait and see.
Yes, indeed it is, indeed. But I think we covered pretty much all the bases that we were going to talk about. Let me confirm with my notes real quick. I know we still have like 30 seconds. Yeah, no, that's pretty much covered everything that I was wanting to talk about. So with that being said, paper crumple.
I take notes.
Of course I took notes. You think I could collectively keep my thoughts together for one fucking video?
Negative.
Exactly. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. And as always, we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Alright, guys. If you like this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments below. Like, share, do the whole YouTube shit. And we'll see you again. Peace.